Okay, today we're going to learn how to do regression on your calculator. First of all, let's figure out what regression means, and then we'll kind of figure out how to do this. So the idea for regression is it's taking real-life data points and graphing them and figuring out what equation best fits those points. So we'll just do a simple example. So you're going to get a question where they'll give you data points, and it doesn't matter whether they're given to you as x and y or any other kind of variables. So it could be time and distance, it could be money and number of people, or whatever. It doesn't matter what the variables are, but you're just going to always plot it as x and y. So what you'll do is when you get these kind of regression questions, they'll give you a set of data points. So let's just do a simple one here. If I gave you 2 and 50, 3 and 45, 5 and 32, 6 and 28, 8 and 34, 9 and 36, and 10 and 40. So let's suppose that was the question, and it says find the equation that best fits that data. So what you want to do on your calculator, there's a bunch of steps you got to do, and if you on the Moodle, if you go to, I've got a file listed there called Regression Steps. It'll kind of walk you through it. But basically what you want to do is you want to go to, on your calculator, the first thing is go to Stat and Edit, and you want to enter these as lists. So put your X data in list 1, put your Y data in list 2. Okay? The next thing you want to do then is you want to plot those points. So on your calculator, go to second stat plot. So it's right above graph. Number 1, you want to turn it so that it says on, because it's usually defaulted off, so make sure you turn your stat plots on. And then what you want to do is hit graph, and it'll plot the points. But the points won't necessarily show up because our window settings messed up. So what you want to do is go to zoom and pick number 9, which is zoom stat. So what that'll do is it'll draw your graph and it'll plot the points the best that it can. So for this case, if we were to actually plot these points, your graph would show these points that I've got to the left, the 2 and the 50. So that means when x is 2, y is going to be 50, and so on. So it'll just plot all of these points, and it would look maybe something like that. Okay, so your calculator should show little dots or squares for those coordinates. So now what you want to do is once you have that plotted, you want to decide if it's linear, quadratic, or cubic. So based on what we know from the last lesson, we can see this should be a quadratic. It's going to be U-shaped. So then what we do is we do the regression to get the equation. So you would go stat calc. So hit the stat button, go over to calc, and scroll down, and you would pick the quadratic regression. And that'll give you the equation. So in this case, it'll give you the equation in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, and then it'll just list what the numbers are for a, b, and c. So what that's going to do is it's going to give you the equation that best fits the data. So it's going to give you the quadratic formula, your equation, that'll fit those dots. So then the last thing you want to do is graph that equation. So you can either just manually type in exactly all the numbers they give you, which is kind of confusing, or on your calculator hit vars, go down to statistics, then choose equation, scroll over to the equation, hit enter, and that'll cut and paste it into y. So you got to go to y equals, make sure it's blank, vars, statistics, equation, it'll paste that equation in, and then you can graph it. So that'll graph the line. And once you have the line graphed, you'll have the equation, and you can find maximum, minimums, y-intercepts, x-intercepts, any of those kind of things that they'll ask for you to do. But like I said, just go to the notes on the Moodle page. I've got a sort of step-by-step how to do this on your calculator if you can't remember. And we'll be doing this lots for linear regressions, quadratic, cubic, and then later on we'll also do sinusoidal, exponential, and logarithm regression as well. So that's it. So practice some of this stuff up?